And we are back live. I think you all just missed the fancy dance moves Paige was doing for me backstage, which is absolutely incredible. And I'm so envious. She's got a proper setup, professional mic and all that. There you go. Getting a lovely preview of some of the dance moves Paige was doing us backstage. So welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to have another incredible speaker on our stage for our second session, who'll be talking to us about a topic that is near and dear to my heart, which is definitely about building strong entrepreneurial communities and networks. Paige Hendrix Buckner is the program director at Founder Gym, good friends of ours, an online training center that helps underrepresented founders build successful tech startups. Since launching, Founder Gym has trained over 500 entrepreneurs across 23 countries. And get this, who've gone on to raise over $57 million. Paige definitely knows a thing or two about building strong entrepreneurial communities. I'll hand over the mic to her. We do have Q&A open for you all, so please feel free in the chat if you'd like to add any Q&A questions to that. We'll jump on a little bit to ask those questions. And again, let's give Paige a massive virtual thumbs up in the chat section. Paige, the stage is all yours. If you unmute yourself and you're good to go.
Thank you so much, Finn. I appreciate it. And I'm really excited because we're going to talk here in about 10 minutes together. So I'm going to remind myself and set my timer. If you are in the chat right now, let me know where you're joining us from. I would love to hear from you because guess what? This is only fun if you're interactive. So let us know what you're up to, where you're calling in from today. As Finn said, my name is Paige Hendrix Buckner, and I'm the program director here at Founder Gym. And I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about building strong entrepreneurial communities and networks. I'm so passionate about this, and I didn't realize it until I was preparing for this, because growing up, my dad always said to me, you are who you hang with. I don't know how many people out there have had their parents say things to them that have kind of stuck in the back of their head for a long time. At the time, I was thinking, okay, he means like who I'm hanging out with, who my friends are. If they're into some mess, I'm into some mess. I'm keeping this in mind as I'm building my friend networks. But it wasn't until really recently that I stumbled upon this gem that he dropped for me way back in the day in the context of my work. So here's what I do. I have the opportunity to train founders from all over the world on what it takes to fundraise, then also generate revenue for their business. And in doing so, I've realized that there's some kind of secret magic that happens when you start building powerful entrepreneurial networks. So today, here's what I'm going to talk to you a little bit about. First of all, why entrepreneurial networks and ecosystems are so important in supporting not only entrepreneurs, but everyone else in their network. The second thing I'm going to do is I'll just share some observations about how these really exciting secrets about building entrepreneurial communities are demonstrating to us why we should double down on the effort to continue to develop these powerful networks. And then finally, I'm going to talk to you about my tips for building a powerful entrepreneurial network. So I hope that you enjoyed this and that you get some takeaways. And if you do, let me know on Twitter or on Instagram. I'm at Paige H. Buckner, and I can't wait to hear from you. All right, so let's jump into it. As we think back to the you are who you hang with idea, what I was reflecting on is how when you look at your network, you are also the brilliance and the expertise and the innovation of your network as well. And the reason why I think networks are so powerful is because not only do they build connections, but it's in building those connections that we build empathy with each other. And just to ground us all in empathy, it's the ability to understand and to share the feelings of other people. Because when you share the feelings of other people, you understand the struggles that they're going through, whether it's something they're encountering in their business, in the context of hiring a team, building a team, whether it's trying to build a really great solution for their customers, or maybe challenges they're having in building those solutions for their customers, or it's fundraising, or it's trying to figure out a new business model that scales. As you think about understanding those folks' problems and you can really truly understand it, that's when you realize, you know what, I can help you because I know how that feels. I care about you. I share those feelings. I'm going to help you. In that I'm going to help you moment, what the help can look like is so many different things, right? It can look like capital. It can look like expertise. It can look like training and education. It can look like mentorship or talent. It can look like access to a new customer channel that you had never even considered. It's in that empathy. It's in that knowing, in that shared experience that we can then unlock our networks for each other. And I have to tell you, this is what's really exciting to me. And this is the secret that I wanted to get to. I think entrepreneurs have a really unique ability to unlock networks for an exponential amount of people in comparison to other folks out in society. And let me explain what I mean by that. Entrepreneurs are not only recruiting a team, right? So when they bring that team on, they're giving that team access to their networks, professionally, personally, maybe. But also when they bring that expertise on board, they're helping their customers at the same time. And it's expanding what their customers have access to that they can then change the quality of life of their customers. And then the quality of life of those people connected to those customers' networks. And this is what I love so much about my job, I have to tell you, because I get to see this every single day as founders work together to solve unique problems based on not only their expertise, but their empathy for each other. And I want to share a quick example for you. In fact, just today we announced this in our newsletter, but we have 2 fundraising cohort alumni who had the opportunity to collaborate on a really powerful opportunity. So we have Sherry Critical. She's an FG fundraising cohort 9 graduate. And so she graduated in 2019. And that was it was spring 2019, right? She's the CEO of Victim's Voice, and they are helping provide a way for people to document with the threshold of the legal expectations, domestic violence experiences that they're having. So then you bring together the power of Taylor Simpson, FG fundraising cohort 11 graduate who graduates towards the end of 2019. And he's the CEO of the Halo app. And he is bringing together the ability for people to lend each other money or give each other money. So these folks combine forces, Sherry with her company Victim's Voice and Taylor with his company, the Halo app, to create something new, which is the Victim's Voice Help Fund, to help those experiencing domestic violence live happier, healthier lives. And what I love so much about this is when I dug a little bit deeper and was looking at what they do, and I can share this in the chat with you all, is that the Victim's Voice Halo Fund ensures that the person in need has the opportunity to document their abuse, their evidence needed to get protection and seek legal justice while aiding the justice system and holding abusers accountable, and then use the cash that they get through this donation fund for whatever they feel that they need. 100% of that donation goes directly to the fund and becomes a 0% interest loan. This is so exciting to me because, again, I just want to back up and think about how these 2 entrepreneurs, with the expertise and understanding, with the solutions that they're building, with the power they have in their own network, were able to come together and are now serving people who have a really, in some cases, a life or death need, right? And need tools to get out of the situation that they're currently in, and they're able to offer that. So again, it's not just about the fact that they know each other and they're connected on LinkedIn. It's that their shared empathy then echoes out through their networks and into the networks of their customers. And this is not unusual. This is also my favorite part about my job, is that when we're building networks, when we watch our founders connect with each other, when we watch entrepreneurs who hire each other, who are buying each other's products, who are making introductions for each other, who are reviewing each other's pitch decks, whatever kind of support they need, they're doing it late at night, early in the morning. It gives me goosebumps because I often ask myself, what does this look like 20, 30, 50 years from now? What does it look like for the customer who uses the Victim's Voice Halo Fund to get the services that they need and to escape a dangerous situation? What does it look like when founders who are trying to create equitable access to healthcare and education and transportation collaborate in really powerful ways to change the lives of their customers? I got to tell you, it's the best part of my work, imagining what that future looks like. And so that's why I think it is so very important that we continue to double down on building powerful, connected, empathetic entrepreneurial communities. So I'm going to share with you a few tips that I have around building these communities that I've learned just from my time as an entrepreneur who's benefited from a powerful entrepreneurial ecosystem, and as someone who's been part of the Founder Gym community now since 2018. Number one, you always need to assess what your community needs. I know that this seems so simple, but it's ongoing, right? It's about booking conversations every week with people in your community to understand where they are from their different perspectives, because needs change. What you think might have been important to your community members at the beginning of 2019 is certainly not important, or potentially not important, to them now in 2020. Once you assess the needs of your community, then start to think about what you can offer them based on your expertise, based on your network. And once you make that assessment, share with folks where you are and what they can get access to, and consider where you can fill in the gaps by yourself plugging into other networks. So I think about this here, plugging into Startup Ground, which we love, all the partners in the Google for Startups network. So shout out to the Google for Startups network. I'm so happy to be part of this work with you all. Our whole team is proud. And when I think about the way that we're able to plug into the Google for Startups network, it means that we can connect to resources for our community all over the world, but we can also provide resources to our community all over the world in Google for Startups network. The other part of this is also ask for help. Offering help is great, and I think that's what we need to continue to do. But in asking, you demonstrate vulnerability that helps other people feel connected to you. Sometimes I think we forget about that. If you need something, ask for help. And as entrepreneurs, I know often we want to feel like we got to do it alone, but we don't. And actually the secret is we can't, and we shouldn't. It's way more fun when we get to go together. Finally, and I think most importantly, is we always have to strive to build inclusive and diverse networks. Now, when I think about the power of diversity in our network, it is about race and gender and age and ethnicity. It is about lived experience. It is about geographic location. It is all of those things brought together. And when you think about a network that really encompasses a variety of lived experiences, again, and you can build empathy within that, there's some really powerful, exciting experiences, some collaborations that can then manifest really exciting intergenerational solutions. So as I think back to what my dad talked about, you are who you hang with, I'm reflecting on this final story I want to share with you today. Jessica Laguerre Hilton, one of our FG fundraising cohort graduates, joined our program to learn how to fundraise for her business, the Pink Purse, which is an incredible business. And since joining our community, both that and our new program that we have, the Money Magnet program, she decided that she was going to run for office. And she, in her district, will be the first Black Haitian woman to win that seat if she wins. And you know what she told me recently? That when she decided to run for office, she shared it with her Founder Gym community, and her first 15 donors were Founder Gym community members. People who helped her navigate the challenges of fundraising for her campaign were Founder Gym community members. People who helped build her website, Founder Gym community members. Who helped her set up fundraising events, Founder Gym community members. And even though she was in a runoff race, she didn't give up there. She continued to leverage that network to build a strategy to secure that win. And to me, like I said to you earlier, it's not just about where we are today with our entrepreneurs, but it's also about who they become and who they become together. Because at Founder Gym, we really believe we all go up together. So that's my 2 cents that I want to remind you about when it comes to building entrepreneurial communities and networks. Remember, in building these networks, we build empathy for each other. And by building empathy, we have the opportunity to unlock each other's collective genius. So with that, I'm going to wrap up my comments so I can welcome back my good friend, Finn. We can take some questions for the audience if folks have them. Thank you so much for being here today. Let me know, like I said, if it's helpful. Hey, Finn.
I am back. Oh, wait.
And he's back. And he's back.
And I'm back. 1 second, please. Hopefully you can all hear me okay.
I can hear you okay.
Okay, for some reason I have a blackout screen, but there we go. Gotta love a little bit of technical difficulty. But as long as you can hear my soothing voice, then hopefully that will suffice. So we have time for a couple of questions here. Great. And I'll provide them very quickly for you, Paige. So the first one, which is definitely near and dear to my heart as someone who absolutely loves in-person events, the last, in fact, ironically, in-person event I attended was our global conference in February. What are your tips for engaging with others during COVID? This individual asks, all their networking skills are built on in-person experiences.
Fantastic. And I saw this is a great question from Grace. So thank you, Grace, for your question and for helping us get prepared for today. So I want to start by saying, first, I think it's about understanding what you want to get out of those kinds of networking or engaging experiences during COVID. We've been running online experiences since 2018. And in doing so, we've understood a few things. So number one, it's about, if you don't know that there's a space out there, you don't see a space out there where it's easy for people to network with each other, then create the space. And I think it's as easy as popping up Zoom, right? Just to have a conversation with people, get to know them, and try to create a space where people can actually connect with each other. So I'll give a couple of examples. One example that I like to think about is breakout rooms. And this sounds really simple, but by creating an agenda that helps people who don't know each other get into breakout rooms and connect, there's some powerful serendipity that can happen. So we host office hours for everyone who's part of our program, in both our fundraising cohort and our money magnet program. And during those office hours, we always carve out time for them to connect with each other and talk about the challenges they're encountering and how they can leverage each other's expertise to solve that problem. So I would say, think about little opportunities like that, little spaces where you can say, let's all jump online together, let's break up and network, and then let's come together around some kind of shared conversation that we can all engage in. I think the biggest thing is just making sure that everyone who's part of that experience feels like the medium that you're using is the right place to engage. Because I know for me, I like Zoom, right? Or I like online platforms like this, but maybe there are other places that you can engage in. Maybe you're talking on the phone to people one-on-one, and you're reaching out to them that way. But yes, make sure that you feel like that's the right space for whoever you're trying to network with. Great question, Grace.
Awesome, thank you. And we've got, we'll take two more quick ones if that's all right. Just give it time. Jeanette asks, what metrics do you use to measure your networks are growing? That's a good, empirical one.
Great question. So I think a few things. One, it's about understanding what metrics you want to measure against to begin with. So are you measuring for expertise? And is that expertise in the context of who you're hiring, right? Or who your mentors are, your advisors? So I think that's the first question, is what's the point of the network that you're building to begin with? And there might be several, right? So you might want to say, for example, by the end of this year, I want to have 4 mentors who help me in the context of this work. And then I can go out and I can measure, have I actually reached out to 4 people? And then when I bring those 4 people into my network, into my fold, what is it that I'm going to learn from those people? And has the learning that I've been engaged with them been effective? And that effectiveness can look like, this person has helped me, reduce the amount of mistakes I'm making. They've helped me make additional connections. They have helped me generate revenue in my business. So I think that the metrics all back out of what your big goals are as an entrepreneur, and understanding how you can then plug your network and measure your network against that. So great question, Jeanette. It's sometimes hard to take that networking idea, something fluffy, and make it clear. There's a second part to this, which is, if you're an organization, thinking about what are the challenges your community has, and how can you then find the right partners that are reflective of what your community needs. And so then you can measure, like, oh, we partner with this group that does X, Y, and Z thing that will have this impact on our community based on the needs that they have.
Thank you very much for that, Paige. And maybe this last question, which I do find interesting, is like, what is an ideal size for an entrepreneur community? Because often they sometimes say, is bigger always best?
I think, again, it goes back to what you need. I'm the kind of person who likes to know lots and lots of people, because I really just value the treasure that each person brings in their own lived experience. And that's something that I've felt since I was really young. That's part of who I am, part of what I love doing, which is why I think I'm so geeked out about my job every day. So I think it's really about, when you think about your entrepreneurial community, the size should have a direct relationship with, again, the success metrics that you think are important to you. So I would say, for me, my success metrics are, I just want to get as many amazing people in my network as possible, so that I can help the people I know connect with the resources and opportunities they need. And also because I'm excited to see big change in the world. And I think the bigger your network, the more connected you can be to bigger change. But maybe for you, it's just like, I want a community that really wraps around me and is small and specifically addresses these needs. So I think it starts with, what kind of person are you? What kind of entrepreneur are you? And how do you maintain that network? Because the last part of that is also, some networks require more maintenance than others, right? So for example, if you're going out and you're fundraising and you close a group of investors are now on your cap table, that's one kind of community you're going to have to communicate with often, right? So you want to ask yourself, like, What do you want that community to look? Do you want them to be investors? Do you want them to be peers? Do you want them to be service providers? What do you want them to look like?
Absolutely love that. And Paige, you received so much love in the chat. One incredible one with such valuable advice, and love Paige's energy. Definitely massive takeaway for me is you are who you hang